Recently, we had a one-day little seminar on one aspect of my excavations at Nemea. And I'd like to invite you to join with my students on that day.
Well, Professor, I don't understand how the stadium was covered.
Well, it was eroded, fill. It's cut back into a hill, and every time it rains, it washes dirt down into it. And so over the years, it just got covered.
Well, why didn't the Greeks uncover it right afterwards?
They didn't uncover it because the games had ceased. Actually, the games were taken away from Nemea already around about 270 years before Christ. And after that time, they didn't care about the stadium as a stadium. It's taken over by farmers. We have farming trenches in this fill. They love the eroded fill that comes down. It replenishes their fields. And gradually over the years, it just washes in. The farmers themselves, around about 550 years after Christ, disappear. And nobody's there for several centuries. And just nature taking the course of filling back in again.
They took it away because of its brutality?
No, it was a political issue. The people of Argos, the town to the south of Nemea, wanted to have the games there and not at Nemea. So they moved the Nemean games to Argos. And from that time on, the games are down at Argos, and our site at Nemea just falls apart. By the 2nd century after Christ, we have an author who visits Nemea in the 2nd century after Christ, and he says the roof of the temple has fallen in. It's already a ruin in antiquity. So there was nobody taking care of it, and nature will have her way. You know, whatever we poor people do, we human beings in our arrogance, nature will in the end win out, and that's certainly what happened there. That artificial terrace washes away at one end, the artificial cut back in fills in at the other. Nature tries to replace what we have taken away and make it back into the way she had it to start with. Cluster under trees. During the course of the day, there would be times when there would be 100 people, there would be times when there were 1,000 people, there would be times when there were several thousand people in the stadium. They'd go out into the village and have lunch and come back again. They wanted to see when Susie and Johnny ran, but the rest of them weren't always there to watch everybody run. They didn't have to do that. Some of them sunned themselves during the day. Our local priest had bought himself a mini cam to record. He had 3 sons running in the races. It was very amusing. This is the first time he'd ever used it, and anytime anybody would walk up to him to say, "Hello, how are you?" he would say, "Hello, how are you? Glad to see you," and bow to them. And I'm sure he's got lots of toes in his video from the first Nemean games. Some of our guys who are running, our starter, and one of our slaves refreshing themselves with modern replicas of ancient drinking cups out in the track. Here in the later on in the afternoon, we're down to the younger people. These are younger ladies who are competing. Here's our starters still there, our slaves still at work. Here's one of our young victors. The look on her face really says it all, I think, about the joy of being there that day. And then there was the long distance race. We had to have a long distance race, so the people started in the next valley at the temple of Heracles, where Heracles was supposed to have started on his own campaign against the Nemean lion. We started here to run a 7.5 kilometer race, which was going to go back up over this hill, this pass right up here, and into the next valley, into ancient Nemea. Here they are starting out. They're coming around. We allowed people to wear shoes. Most of them did. This fellow didn't. He's a doctor from Long Island who insisted on running the whole thing barefoot. And this is Mr. Nielsen, our 89-year-old runner who's at the start of the race. Through the little village of Cleone, being applauded by the villagers as people came up the hill. It was a good steep hill to run up. It wasn't excessively long race by long distance standards, but it was a good test because of going up over the hill and then down into our valley. In the background we have a judge and a slave who are serving as markers so that people know where the course is. We had done a dry run of this race the year before, and we hadn't put up markers anyplace, and one of the young ladies who ran ended up down in the city of Argos, 20 miles in the wrong direction. So we decided we'd better have some sort of markers up. We didn't want to put painted signs down, so we put our living markers up. And then into the stadium, stopping in the locker room to take off your shoes. because when you came into the ancient stadium, you have to be in your bare feet, down around the altar, in front of the flags, and then back to the starting line for the finish of the race. Here's the first woman victor, a young lady named McCoy from Canada, who, as you can see, has her ribbon of victory and her palm branch, and then the judges and the heralds and the trumpeter is another member of the Cal band who blew on his trumpet. But winning wasn't the thing. It was about participating. Here's our youngest competitor, a 12-year-old who managed to do the whole 7.5 kilometers, and you can see the pride on his face of his accomplishment. And then about half an hour after the first finisher came in, there came Mr. Nielsen, and the crowd went wild. Here he was, 89 years old. He had run his 7.5 kilometers. He was coming in his bare feet and you can see the size of the crowd now has grown considerably toward the end of the day. The American ambassador couldn't control himself. He got excited. He ran out with a fellow, this guy is from Hillsborough, California, actually, ran out to give Mr. Nielsen a sort of a guard of honor to help him finish the race. This is the American ambassador's bodyguard, who was heard muttering under his breath about the ambassador who insisted on running every place. So anyway, but it was a wonderful experience, and there, I submit to you, is the real Olympic spirit. Then came the closing ceremonies. By this time, we can estimate fairly precisely there were at least 5,000 people in front of the altar. The judges come in. We have the Corinth choir singing to us, trumpet playing, the trumpeter. One of the judges trying to memorize his lines before he comes out onto the track. Chancellor Tien is there. He had the night before given us his closing remarks so we could translate them into Greek. And the member of the town council is going to read the Greek text. He will say a sentence in English and he'll read a sentence off in Greek. Tien got up and said, "This is so exciting. This is so wonderful. I've had such a good time. My words aren't good enough. Forget my speech. I have to speak to you from the heart." And his written text was gone. And you can see the expression on this guy's face. Oh, now what do I do? How am I going to train? I don't, this guy doesn't know English, or not well enough to try to translate it into Greek. We cobbled together and sort of whispered into his ear translation of what Tien was saying. But it was typical of the enthusiasm of the day. All of the people who ran in the race, got their little buttons of participation. Then the winners came in, and now it was time for the awards ceremony. Everybody who had won their race came in with their palm of victory, their ribbon of victory, to get each one their palm, their crown of wild celery. Here is our first woman victor, Nemea McCoy from Davis, California, getting from the judge. Here are a series of victors. This is a Greek, let me think, have I got this right? It's in your brochure, actually, you can check me. Polish, German, Romanian. Am I right? Hungarian. I get them confused. And American from the University of California Marching Band, each with their crown of wild celery, each victorious. The fire was then extinguished, and taps were played by the three members of the Cal band, one down here on the floor, echoed around the rim of the stadium, the other two were up on the rim of the stadium, and the day was over. But it's not over. We're going to do it again. In 2000, you've got the brochures here. There's a little entrance, a little form on the back if you want to become a member of the society. It costs you $10 you have to send in to become a member of the society for the revival of the games. But whether you become a member or not, on the 3rd and 4th of June of the year 2000, we will do this again. And we expect a much larger group, of course, than we had this last time. You are all invited. It doesn't cost anything to run. Thank you for your attention over the last several weeks as we've looked at the history of the Nemean Games and the modern attempt to revive them. I'm not going to give you an examination, but I would like to suggest to you that you get involved. If you would like to be a participant in the Nemean Games on June the 3rd and 4th of the year 2000, you can send your name, your gender, your age, together with your address, to the Society for the Revival of the Nemean Games, Post Office Box 2000, Nemea 20500, Greece. If you'd like to help with some of the expenses that we have, because our volunteers can't do everything by themselves, add an extra dollar or two, or as much as you can, to your membership check and send it to the society.